Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, so I had another interesting dream last night, and this is not the first time I have dreamt this idea, but I dreamt that it was far into the future, maybe 20 or 30 years in the future, and I dreamt that we had AI machine learning that could take your DNA and help you find a good match based on your DNA. So apparently, the machine learning algorithm had digested hundreds and hundreds of good and bad relationships with their DNAs and had figured out what makes for a good match. And it sounds plausible. And I'd like to ask anybody who would like to submit their DNA so I can work on this project. If you're submit you and your partner's DNA and rate your compatibility from 1 to 10. And I'd love to crunch those. I really would. I really love to crunch that to see what it looks like. Let me talk about my dream. This is the second time I've had the dream. Let me talk about the first one. This was a few years ago, actually. I dreamt that I had traveled into the future. What had happened was that there was a planet many light years away made of solid bismuth, and I wanted to go there to make some bismuth art. And I traveled there, and I made a bunch of bismuth art, and I was just about to bring it home. I was just about to board my spaceship when I realized, oh my god, when I get home, hundreds of years will have passed into the future. And I started to feel sad for all the people I'm going to miss back home. I'm going to come home to a whole different world. I came back, and I came back to a world that I hardly recognized. And I realized there was this matchmaking service. All I had to do was collect a bunch of blood, and it would crunch my DNA. And I did that. And before I knew it, I got married. And I also realized that here in the future, we have completely new metals to work with, right? We had elements that were way heavier than bismuth that were somewhat stable, right? And one day, my wife and I argued about how I had blown all of our retirement money on all sorts of weird metals. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, how well was this AI even working, right? If we're arguing like this. And then I woke up. Well, last night, I dreamt I was actually developing this AI, and I was writing my machine. I have a good idea how this algorithm would look like, by the way. So I would assume that your DNA information could be turned into some kind of a series of bits, right, zeros and ones, and your compatibility. Well, that's kind of subjective, though, right? It would be the output, and you got some kind of neural network in between that, and you're tuning the coefficients. I can kind of already see how this algorithm would work by that. I just need the data. Of course, not too many people would probably be willing to give it up, right? So that's probably the tricky part. All right. If you want to submit some data for this project, let me know. I actually feel that the only thing stopping me is collecting the data. I really do feel I have a really good idea what this algorithm will look like. Also, the rating and how compatible you are. That's so subjective that if you're mistaken about it, your mistake's going to propagate into the algorithm, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.